Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my latest exploration on the gel plate using a bath mat. I think once you've become a gel printing addict like I have, you get addicted to texture and wanting to try just about anything on the gel plate. So I thought, I have this old bath mat, it's threadbare. I was going to throw it away, and I thought, why not give it a try? So without further ado, let's dive in and follow along with me as I experiment with this old bath mat. Thank you so much for watching. Well, here's the bath mat in question. So it's got a sort of a shaggy side and more of a flat side. I'm going to experiment with the shaggy side to see if I can get some really fun texture. I'm starting out using a more neutral color palette, and then I'm going to switch it up a little bit later on and trying some different things. So getting that bath mat down to get that texture. At the beginning it's pulling up a little bit too much paint, but that will change later on. So I spritzed with a little bit of water and then rolled that out, drying that first layer of paint before getting another layer down. So sometimes when I'm choosing my color palette, it will depend on what kind of work I have going on the side. So if I have some ideas for some paintings and I want my collage papers to have a certain feel or color, if I'm doing a landscape or whatever it is, then I'll sort of choose those colors. Sometimes I have that in mind and sometimes it's just random. So starting to see some fun texture here. Playing around again with misting, spritzing the paint, rolling that in. So trying to get a little bit of that water disbursement effect. And then when you partially dry the areas that you spritzed with water and lift that away, then you have some areas that are lifted away, some areas that remain, and which is really fun for getting those cool effects. Going in here with the next layer. So basically it's just a repetition of layering paint with water, pulling away parts of it. To try and get that age-distressed kind of vibe that I really love in gel printing. Taking a peek on the underside to see what that looks like, because it usually looks very different. Adding more water to get that water disbursement, partially drying. And then again, lifting away parts of that. So sort of a patchy paint effect. And all those papers that are used to lift away parts of the paint can also be used for collage, which is great. Nothing's ever wasted with this technique, I find. Partially drying. It's hard to tell with the angle, but the dryer is probably about a foot to 15 inches away from the surface of the plate. Going in with the next layer. Coming in again with some water. Using a paperweight to get a full contact there. More water down, lifting away of that. So there's no real recipe to doing this. It's just really experimentation and, I guess, play mode, which is why I love the gel plate so much. I find that it helps get me out of my head, gets me out of this sort of expectation that we often have when we're wanting to control everything. So coming in with the final layer of paint, the layer that's going to be used to help pull all the other layers of paint. I don't think I have quite enough paint down, but I'm getting near the end of that tube of paint. Oh, hair. It's either my hair or cat hair that's gets trapped on the roller of the plate. So I added a little more paint there, as you can see. Not quite enough to get the proper kind of pull. And using my favorite tea bag paper here. I love to use tea bag paper in my collage work. It's really nice to work with. And it works really well on the gel plate. Coming in with a dryer here just to make sure that I've got it fully dry. A little bit impatient. I could have just left it for a while, but and always the most satisfying thing is to pull that print. I'm happy with the grunge effect that I have here. So I made several of these using the bath mat by just pressing it down into the paint. And then I start to switch things up a little bit here. I'm working with a different palette. I've decided to work with some metallic paints, which I really love to work with. Same basic idea with the layering of the paint, spritzing with water, and that sort of thing. But as you'll see a little bit later on here in the video, I'm going to start doing something different with the bath mat. Spritzing with more water. Trying to get the water to move the paint a little bit here. Kind of hard to see because I've got my gel plate on an old cookie sheet. Unfortunately, it's a dark color, so sometimes you can't see so well, but it is useful for this size gel plate. Coming in with more water, drying that, partially drying that a little bit. Again, wanting to get that water disbursement sort of technique down. Coming in with some more metallic blue this time. Paint seems to be drying pretty quickly, so I have to go in a number of times with water. Back in here to get some good contact. And then from here, at one point, I guess I forgot to turn my camera back on, but I put another layer of the same color, the same metallic dark blue. And then instead of just placing the bath mat down, I dragged it across the surface, and you'll see that further on in the video. So you'll see in the next little section a close-up of what that looks like. When the bath mat is dragged across the surface instead of just placed on the surface. So here we go. You can see that there's more lines. So that's sort of the technique that I'm playing around with these metallic paints. It's alternating between metallics and flat colors. So getting a layer of paint, and then again coming in with the water. And then here you'll see coming in with the bath mat and dragging it across the surface so that I get not only the sort of drag lines, but also the water disbursement effect, which turned out to be a really cool combination. So spritzing with water, again, dragging across the surface. So I let that dry, I think, well, after here, I'm spritzing it a little bit. Again, the water disbursement effect that I wanted in certain areas. Let that dry, and then I came in with an orange color, repeated the same thing. Paint down, water down, and then dragging, again, the bath mat across the surface. Here I'm just pulling away some of that paint. It was very, very wet, so I had to pull some of it away. And again, these papers that I'm using, look at that. That's pretty cool. I'll be using that for something for sure. Taking a quick peek on the underside to see what I want to do next. Coming in with a lighter metallic blue. And just a repeat of the same process of layering the paint, spritzing the water. This time, though, I think I decided to just place the bath mat down instead of dragging it. I didn't want to lift away too much of that blue paint. Taking another peek. Letting that dry completely, and then coming in with this metallic silver for the final layer. It's a Liquitex fluid acrylic, I believe. Really nice paint to work with. For gel printing. So getting in a nice even layer. Coming in with my tea bag paper. I think I cut that piece a little bit narrow. So I came in with these little strips to lift away the edges. A little bit of paint on the edges, and sometimes those little edge strips are really useful for collage work as well. Making sure I have good contact with the paper and the paint. I'm really happy with the way these turned out. So I did this a few times. I didn't video it over and over again, but I did a few of them with this dragging technique, and then a few of them just by placing the bath mat down on the surface of the paint. So I'll show you some close-ups here. These are going to be really fun to use in my mixed media pieces. You can see the really neat effects. Another one in a different color. So that's the dragging one. This is the one where I'm placing. So there's a few of those where I'm placing the bath mat down. Some really fun effects here. So I was really happy with the way these turned out. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it inspires you to give this technique a try. I'd love to hear from you and what you've managed to create with this technique. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.